Welcome back to the channel. We are back with another tier list, and let's just say I have refined this tier list. The last one I did was the best swordsman, which was slightly flawed because Oberyn is a spear user. A couple other people were like warhammers, axes, shit like that. So it was a bit flawed. So we're going to do this. We're going to simplify it. There are only 42 people on this list. S, A, B, C, and D. That's it. I don't believe Janos Slint, thank heavens, is not on this list, so I can't just immediately put him at the lowest rank. So yeah, that's what we're going to do today. But before we get into that, I have to just say something comical. I made a post about it. For some reason, two people are very upset at me that I am using AI in a few of my thumbnails where I am depicting random conspiracy theories that didn't happen, so there isn't any photos of those things happening. So they're mad that I'm using AI to depict fictional characters in a fictional event about a fictional conspiracy theory. I just thought that was comical because I'm just like, who cares? Maybe? I don't know. But yeah, those people are kind of making me laugh at this point. So we're just going to get into this. I'm going to be drinking tea this entire time because my voice, shocker, is shot still. One day I'll take a break. One day. That day is not today. So we're going to get off right. I'm just going to go down the list. From top to bottom. The bottom is... You know what? I think it'd be better if I go bottom to top, actually. Ygritte's going to be a D. She's good with a bow. She kills a couple people. Not the best. What is her name? Yara? Not... Put her at C. She seems to do okay, but then when put in a situation where she's actually fighting, she gets captured, so it's just like... And now we're going to talk about something that, well, I think I need to talk about, so I'm going to go mainstream, or main screen again. In some of my other videos, some of my other things, I did top swordsman. And maybe... It's just how I think about these things. I thought, hey, this person is an older character, been around war a long time, and somehow still alive, therefore they must be a great swordsman, or an okay swordsman, or a competent enough swordsman to not die. And then somebody in the comments politely pointed out that, yeah, that logic may make sense. Highborn got training immediately with a sword. But then they pointed out that, like, those people weren't like Jon Snow leading from the front. Not like Robert Baratheon leading from the front. They were the leaders where they're like, hey, y'all go here. Hey, y'all go here. I'm going to stay back here on my horse and tell people what to do. I'm not going to say Tywin's not a great fighter. Probably the leader type character. Same thing with Roose Bolton. Somebody pointed that out to me. I made him, I think, A or B tier because he was highborn. Yada yada. That may have not been the case for him being a great swordsman, but some of these people did live a long time, so I'm going to have to put them somewhere near the top. I'm going to go B. He did some great things, but there's never like a Tywin one attorney all by himself, destroying everyone, making himself look like a prodigy. That wasn't really him. I'm going to give... Right off the bat, I'm going to give all three of these. I think that's a good one for all of those. I think they're all good. The fighters in the family fought. The mother didn't do very well. So there's that. I believe that's Tormund Giant's Bane. We're going to give him a B. We're going to give him a B because reasons. Theon is going to get a C. My man just up and ran at the Night King and then got killed. Theon, what are you doing? Your claim to fame is jumping off of Winterfell's wall into snow. That's your claim to fame. And getting your dick chopped off, that too. So let me look for something real quick because it's going to be how I score this. Okay. The mountain, we're going to put the mountain at A tier. I'm going to leave one spot open in S tier, and that's who's going to be in S tier. A tier is going to be the best fighters. S tier is going to be the best out of all of those A tier fighters. The Hound, going to put in A tier. Stannis. We're going to put Stannis at A tier. Simply because in the show when he tried to take Winterfell, my man was first in line for horses. He said, come get you some. And then he was somehow alive at the end. Killed a couple more people and then was sitting by a tree just waiting to die. Sam. Sam is the character that actually started it all. He's going to get a D tier. And here's why. Somebody in the last video pointed out that while I'm saying people like Tywin, Roose Bolton, Robb Stark were pretty good swordsmen because they started training with a sword from an early age, Sam is also a Tarly, and he would have also gotten trained from a wee tyke with the sword. And I'm like, okay, cool. Tracking. But we saw him in the show get just absolutely waxed by random thieves and rapers from King's Landing. Day one, he was just getting toasted. So I'm going to have to break the, oh, you're trained because you were from a highborn house. Sam ruined that for everyone. So Sam, you're going to get D tier. You killed a White Walker. And I'm convinced that's because the White Walker felt sorry for you. He looked at you and said, there's no way this guy's going to kill me. And then got stabbed and went, fuck, I miscalculated. That's how I think you killed the White Walker. Robb is going to be... Robb is going to be C tier. And here's where I run into this situation. If there was like a C+, B- tier, that's where Robb would be. Simply because I think he's better than Theon. He's better than everybody on this list, but is he better than the people in B tier? And I'm not sure. We didn't see enough. He won some battles, but straight up said when Jaime challenged him to a one-on-one fight, like, bruh, nah, you'd smoke me. I already have you captured. Why would I fight you? In other words. But yeah, that's where Robb's going to be. Robb's going to be C tier. Again, do I want him to be C tier? Maybe not. But that's kind of where he is. Robert. Robert. Robert in his prime. I'm going to do something real foolish here in a second. Robert in his prime. We're going to put these two people at S tier, and then we're going to talk about it at the end. Ramsay Bolton, you can be a C tier. Thoros of Myr and Bronn are probably some of my favorite characters in the show. Thoros of Myr had a gimmick. And by gimmick, I mean, I've done a video on this before. Thoros of Myr's gimmick was he would buy cheap swords, buy some wildfire, rub the wildfire on the sword, light it on fire, and it would freak people out. That was his, like, claim to fame. And yeah, it was pretty solid. Not gonna lie, pretty solid. But did that make him a great fighter? He ran through the breach when they were raiding the Iron Islands. But he was drunk. Drunk people do crazy shit. That doesn't mean he's a great swordsman. It just means that there was a drunk guy running through the breach with a flaming sword and everybody remembers. He's gonna get a B. Golly. And this is where we're going to get into the wild shit. Because Podrick, I'm going to put Podrick at D. Not because he's maybe I'm trying to do in the entire body of work. I'm going to give the entire body of work C tier. Podrick and Sam have crazy claims to fame. Sam, I'm the first person to kill a White Walker in like fucking forever. One-on-one, I killed a White Walker. Cool. He's still a D tier. Podrick, his claim to fame is he killed a Kingsguard member during a battle. He killed a Kingsguard member. How did he do that, you ask? In the show, he put a spear in the back of his head or in the back of his throat because he wasn't fighting the Kingsguard member at all. That Kingsguard member was trying to kill Tyrion. That's what happened in the show. That does not make you a great warrior. That just means you were lucky and a more than likely better warrior, better swordsman, better fighter. Had his back turned to you and you took advantage of it. Does that make you a great person? No, but at the end he was being trained by Brienne, so I'm assuming that puts him above Sam. Oberyn Martell, easy A. Easy A. If we're going to do, honestly, he'd probably be there. If there was like an A+, S-, he would be right here on the list. But right now he's going to be top of the A class. Loras Tyrell. I think he'd be at the end of the A class. In 5 years, 10 years, maybe he could be S tier. But he did. He gone. This guy, we're going to put him at C. I don't even remember his name. That's how much I don't care about him. The Mormonts. We're going to put both Mormonts in B tier. Jorah. We're just going to put him in B tier and leave it at that. One was in the breach with Thoros of Myr. The other one is an old man in the Night's Watch. Both survived. One survived a really long time. The other one got knighted. So he had to have done something. He got knighted as a Northern House person, which means he's not just getting knighted for the love of the game. I believe he got knighted by Robert Baratheon. So that has to be a big deal. So we're going to put them both at B. I know I'm kind of going against it for him. It's like he's an old man. He joined the Night's Watch, I believe, when Jorah sold slaves into slavery to pay for his wife. Highborn, he was in the Night's Watch. He lived for a long time. Fought some good fights, but eventually died. Jon Snow. Jon Snow is going to be at the tail end of A tier, and I'll tell you why at the end. Jaime. This would have been a good fight. Jaime versus Oberyn in their prime. That could have been a good fight. Hodor. We're going to put Hodor at the tail end of C, because to my knowledge, Hodor has absolutely no training. Grey Worm, we're going to put at the tail end, maybe above Jon on A tier. Both of these guys struggle from something that I've created in my own mind. It is the tail end of the Game of Thrones universe. Lack of swordsman fallacy, I guess, because there are swordsmen in Westeros, in Essos, that are great swordsmen. But there's no more prime Jaime Lannisters. There's no more Oberyn. The Mountain is a zombie. Stannis is dead. Loras is dead. Robert's dead. Sir Arthur Dayne is dead. Barristan Selmy's dead. So it's just like, maybe it's just the break of everybody older that was great is dead, and everybody that's younger maybe isn't in their prime yet. So while Grey Worm and Jon are probably great swordsmen, great warriors, great fighters, who are they really fighting? Jon fights a bunch of White Walkers, a bunch of rando wildlings, a bunch of random traitor northern houses, beats up Ramsay with his fists. Grey Worm is incredibly trained, but he's fought White Walkers, random people trying to kill Daenerys in Essos. Yeah, you see where I'm going with this. There's just a lack of, like, during Robert's Rebellion, Robert and Ned were fighting like prime fighters. There had not been like a solid, like, really war between each other for a long time. So all these people were just like in their prime waiting. And there's not really that at the end of the Game of Thrones show. Sorry to go on that rant, but that's just the fallacy I caught myself in, and I'm trying to get out of it. But in my head, it still makes sense. Gendry. Gendry's Gendry. Again, we're going to go into this because I was trying to do a bracket, a game, I think you can still see it, the second tab, a Game of Thrones bracket where I was putting fighters against fighters, and one of them auto-populated Gendry versus one of these two, don't remember which one. And it's just like, well, Gendry was a blacksmith. is probably in great shape condition-wise because he was apparently running everywhere in the north in the snow. I think he killed one King's Watch guy. And that's where we are for Gendry. Like, Gendry isn't a fighter. He just happens to be good at swinging a hammer, so he built a Robber Baratheon hammer. That's where we're at. So I'm going to put him maybe even below Hodor. Euron Greyjoy. I don't want to put him a B tier, but I feel like it's necessary to put him a B tier. He's a pirate. The show version of him is a bitch. She's a knockoff Jack Sparrow. In the show, he's like a fucking dark shadow demon wearing a black Valyrian steel suit of armor. Allegedly went to Valyria, cut all the tongues out of his crew's mouths. He's a badass, but in the show, he gets destroyed by one-armed Jaime Lannister. So we're going to put him at the tail end of B. Ned. I'm going to put Ned maybe even there, even at the end of his life. I could probably justify putting Ned at A. The last fight that he was in, where he got stabbed in the back of the knee by a Lannister spear, my man was holding his own. My man was putting in work, going toe-to-toe with, I would argue, prime Jaime Lannister. And he held his own until he fucking took an arrow in the knee like the Whiterun Guard. So yeah, we're going to do that. Oh, Khal Drogo. We're going to do this again, too. We're going to put him at B. I mean, he might be there, B. And this is where B can get all messed up. Because I think there's a theoretical possibility where they all could all beat each other. We saw... It's hard to do this because there was a direct battle of like this similar type matchup where Jorah won, I would say pretty easily, against one of maybe, I think, Khal Drogo's Blood Riders. People who don't fight against armor, trying to fight against armor with no training of doing that, it's going to be tough. You saw it in the show. The sword isn't built for it that they use. Jorah's slow, the armor makes him slow, but that slowness comes with the added defense of, well, your shit can't go through my armor, so I can really be as slow as I want and pick my shots. And he did. He caught his sword, got the guy in the face, won the battle, all's good. So Khal Drogo's going to be mid-B. Sir Davos Seaworth. He's going to be one of those people where he survived. Doesn't make him particularly good at fighting. Oh. This is going to be another one. We're going to put him right there. I think this version of him was better than the first character we got of him. But we only really saw this guy fight random civilian traders and technically one city's champion, but in the grand scheme, he didn't fight the champion. He downed the horse and then killed the guy. So, I mean, like, great strategy, but again, does that make you good? He's probably going to kick the shit out of Euron, but yeah, that's a great spot for him. He could probably be high B tier to mid B tier. It is what it is. Bronn. This is where it gets interesting. This is where it gets real interesting. Because I think he could be mid A tier. Simply because he is unlike everyone else on this list. Just throwing this out there. Highborn, trained since forever in fighting. Highborn, the Hound, gigantic. Kind of, I would put him as kind of highborn simply because him and his brother technically are Cleganes, so they're cool. And I'm imagining if you were gigantic compared to everyone else, you'd have probably gotten trained with a sword from an early age. Extremely highborn. Bronn is just a guy. I actually watched a video last night before I went to bed where it was like, Bronn is secretly the last Tarbeck. Okay, you believe that. Bronn is going to Dale Gribble you during a fight. He's going to take out his pocket sand, blow it in your eyes, yell sha 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 as he's grabbing your dick and twisting it. That's why I think Bronn could technically beat a bunch of people, because he may not be as skilled as Jaime Lannister, but he would literally throw people, objects at you while you're fighting. There's nothing he wouldn't do to win. Bronn's only goal is to be alive. Not to be the greatest moral character ever, but just to survive. So there's that. Bran of Tarth. We're just throwing people in A tier, and we're not ranking them anymore because it's just going to get wild here in a second. Yeah, she beat a bunch of people. Arya tied with her in like a fake fight. She beat the Hound, but then the Hound held his own against the Mountain. It's like a weird circle. I made this point before. It's like a really, really great NFL team losing to a crappy team that lost to a really good team that got beat by the original great team. It's a weird circle that doesn't make sense, but they're all on the A tier. Beric Dondarrion is a interesting person. I'm going to put him in B tier. Again, there's no more rankings. I've given up on that. Beric Dondarrion is going to be B tier. He's died a lot, but he's also fought at minimum 2 people on the A tier. I'm going to put him in B tier because I don't think when Ned Stark put him in charge of the party to go get the Mountain, I don't think he would have given that opportunity or that position to somebody who was functionally illiterate with a sword, if that makes sense. He got cut down by the Mountain. He got cut down by the Hound, as most people would. So the fact that he died to those people, I'm not going to say he's not a great swordsman or a B tier swordsman, but those people are going to cut down like 90% of everyone. So what are you going to do? Benjen Stark. Benjen Stark is going to get a B. Simply because in the show, he turns into Cold Hands. In the books, he's, I believe, still missing. He's not Cold Hands, so, like, who knows? He's highborn, got training since forever. Went to the Night's Watch, was a ranger, lived for a while. I'm assuming that if you're ranging north of the Wall and you've lived to whatever age Benjen is, 30s, 40s, whatever, you have to be decent with the sword, so B tier seems right. Barristan Selmy. Again, these 3 fighting each other would be fucking, in their primes, would be fucking crazy. We're going to put him not as 80-year-old, 90-year-old fucking Barristan Selmy. Arya's going to be A tier. This guy, I'm drawing a blank on his name. He's going to be A tier too. If I remember correctly, the show did him rather dirty. The books, he was really, really great at what he did. I believe he has like a 2-handed axe or some shit. He's legit, but in the show, they're like, hey, you got stabbed in the back. You never saw it coming. Mwahaha. It's like, that probably wouldn't have happened. And a guy, we're going to put him in B tier. We're going to put Sir Alistair Thorne in a B tier. We're going to put him in a B tier because I hate his guts. He's one of those characters. I've talked about this before. I'm going to make myself main screen for a second. I've made this claim before when it comes to Joffrey, where the actor played such a convincing role of someone to be hated that people hate him in real life to this day. And I believe Game of Thrones is coming out on its like 15th anniversary or something like that. It's been 15 years and people still hate your guts. I saw this guy in another show, completely unrelated, to the point where I think he was even like wearing a suit. And even then I still went, I fucking hate your guts, you killed Jon Snow. That's how I felt about him, seeing him in a completely different show. So just, I hate his guts, but I'm going to give him B tier for this reason. He fought in Robert's Rebellion, obviously against Robert, which is how he ends up at the Night's Watch. But he's alive, and he fought, and he's a knight. So he had to do something to stay alive during Robert's Rebellion if Robert won. So there's that. I'm going to put him in a B tier simply because he's alive, he fought in Robert's Rebellion, and is still alive. There's that. That's the list. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that. Like I said, I'm just throwing down content. as much as I can on this channel. I have the main channel. If you're here, you're more than likely subscribed to my main channel as well. That is completely unrelated to nerd topics, but yeah, that's it. Hopefully you guys, I don't know. Hopefully you guys feel okay about this list. More than likely somebody in the comments is going to be like, but why'd you put this person here instead of here? Feel free. Feel free to put that in the comments. I'm more than likely going to respond and tell you, yeah, you're probably right, or no, you're wrong, this is why. So feel free to comment. That's the video. Have a good rest of your weekend. Peace.